Hello class, today we're going to look at France, Germany, and Italy in the late 19th century. And remember the 19th century means we're looking at the 1800s. We're going to first begin with France. The leader of France right now is Napoleon III. Um, he is going to become the emperor after the revolution of 1848. He starts out as a tyrant, and remember tyrant means like a dictator. Um, they don't do stuff for the benefit of the people, but instead the benefit of themselves. However, he will change and become more of a democratic leader. He will pass a new democratic constitution, and he will ease up on censorship, meaning limiting what content can get published to the public. He will ease up on that. He also is going to help industrialize France. He's going to build railroads, create jobs, and his domestic policies were generally successful. Like the people liked what he did in France. That's what domestic means. Now, foreign is what he does outside of France. His foreign policy was a disaster. When we looked at Latin American revolutions, we looked at Mexico. Remember, the last leader was Maximilian, and he was appointed by France to rule over Mexico after they had fought their freedom from Spain. And they thought they appointed Maximilian in Mexico, then they would be able to rule over Mexico. But that is not what took place. So that was very disastrous. He tried to bring Mexico into the French Empire, but the Mexicans resisted and the United States protested, where you get the Monroe Doctrine that we mentioned with imperialism, that President Monroe asked them to stay out of the Western Hemisphere, the European countries. He also is going to help the Italian nationalists defeat Austria. But once the Italian nationalists defeat Austria, they will become a rival to France. So that's going to cause France a problem. He is also going to lose the war against Prussia, which is now present day Germany, in 1870 and was captured in battle, ending his reign. After he is captured, they develop a new government and it's called the Third Republic. In 1871, the French National Assembly accepted a peace treaty with Germany, which again is what's called Prussia. France is going to surrender 2 provinces and cash to Germany. The peace treaty was very unpopular with many French, leading to a brief civil war in France. So France is still going to have an unstable government for a while because Napoleon kind of left stuff a mess when he died. The new French government had a two-house legislature and was headed by a premier. That's very similar to Congress. We have a two-house legislature. We have the Senate and House of Representatives. They did separate church and state, which is very similar to the United States. We don't talk about religion in school. That's separation of church and state. And we try not to involve religion in our government policies. The Catholic Church is going to cease being the official church of France. They're going to have state-run schools were created to replace the Catholic schools, similar to our public schools. They passed laws to protect the workers, which are going to set wages and hours. And like we've been talking about the Industrial Revolution, how people have been working long hours and receiving poor pay. The Third Republic is going to fix that. Unfortunately, political, racial, and sexual scandals is going to plague the Republic in its early decades, damaging the government's credibility, meaning that people didn't trust the government because of all the scandals that were going on. Moving on to Germany. Remember, Germany is known as Prussia. So do we unite or not unite all the areas of Prussia into one country? And this is where nationalism comes in, the love for your country or the love for your ethnicity. Or are you proud to be an American? And most Americans will join together. After 9/11, all Americans joined together just because of what happened with the bombings. We all became one. It didn't matter race, color, whatever. We were just Americans. Same thing, similar into the unification of Germany. You have all these different ethnicities, but they all share common languages, common culture. Common culture. So the question is, do we unite or not unite? So remember, Germany was still broken into dozens of small states, and Prussia and Austria in the early 1800s. In 1848, again, we have a lot of revolutions happening in 1848, the delegates at the Frankfurt Assembly offered the throne of a united Germany to the King of Prussia, saying, hey, let's unite all of the different ethnicities that come together and have similarities, united under Germany, and offer it to the King of Prussia, and he can rule over that. but he rejected it. He did not want to unite. It's going to be Otto von Bismarck. He is going to be known as a leader that is going to unify Germany and unify Prussia and turn it into Germany. In 1862, Bismarck was appointed Chancellor of Prussia by King Wilhelm, and in German you pronounce the W as a V. Bismarck immediately began developing a plan to unite Germany under Prussian leadership. He strengthened the military to fight 3 wars. So it's going to take 3 wars that are eventually going to turn Prussia into a united Germany. He's going to build an alliance between Prussia and Austria in 1864, and then he went to war with Denmark, seizing 2 German states. In 1866, he's going to attack Austria and seize more German territory. In 1870, he's going to go to war with France, and he won that war very easily. So now he has all the lands that he needs to unite and build a Germany. After the victory over France in 1871, the many German princesses persuaded King Wilhelm I to take the title Kaiser, which means Emperor of Germany. This began the Second Reich. The old Holy Roman Empire was the First Reich, and Germany under Adolf Hitler would be the Third Reich, by the way. Germany's government. They are also going to establish a 2-house legislature. So you're going to see us moving away from all these kings and queens and trying to turn these countries into democracies, which they are today. Present day, they are all democracies. So they're going to have a 2-house legislature very similar to Congress. The Bundesrat is the upper house, was appointed by the princes. The Reichstag, which is the lower house, was elected by the male voters. The Bundesrat could veto the decision of the Reichstag, though, because they're the princes. Germany's strengths. They had plenty of iron and coal resources. Remember, we're in the Industrial Revolution. They had lots of industry, large corporations, many miles of railroads because of the iron and the coal. They were the second largest merchant fleet in Europe, meaning ships. Many universities, an educated workforce, and they had many scientists. So the Iron Chancellor, Otto von Bismarck, now Chancellor of Germany, came to be known as the Iron Chancellor because of how he ruled, for his uncompromising desire to remove any obstacle to a truly united German state. He was determined to unite the whole entire country. To completely unify Germany, however, meant destroying any competing loyalties. He is going to target the Catholics, whom he felt were more loyal to the Pope than they would be to Germany. So he passed laws which will allow the state to appoint priests and to sanction marriages. When these moves backfired and increased loyalty to the church, Bismarck backed down. He's like, okay, I'm not going to mess with the church. Also, he went against the socialist group. They're going to be similar to the communist group, that the power should be with the working class, and he did not want that to divide Germany. So he tried to ban the socialist group. That didn't work. So he was like, okay, let me get them on my side. So how can you get the working class on your side? He created health insurance for them, created a disability pay in case they get hurt while they're on the job, they'll still get paid. And he created a retirement pension. So when they were of age and they were too old to work, they would still get money from the government. However, whatever goes up must come down. In 1888, Wilhelm I's grandson, William II, became Kaiser, which means emperor. He took a much more aggressive interest in ruling Germany. And in 1890, he fired the aging and conservative Bismarck. Wilhelm became a massive military buildup with an eye on building a global German empire. So he wants to expand his empire just like Napoleon, thereby upsetting the fragile European balance of power, which is going to lead us to Italy. And the reason why we're talking about these countries is because it's going to bring us into World War I. Obstacles to the Italian unity. Italy had not been united since the fall of the Roman Empire. The mid-1800s, parts of Italy was ruled by Austria and France. Other parts were independent states, and the Pope had direct control of part of central Italy. So what was the reasons to unite? Again, we're talking about nationalism. Geographically distinct peninsula. They had a common language. They shared history of the Roman Empire. 99% of the people that lived in that area was Catholic, and it made good economic sense because you have an easy trade if we all become one. There were several struggles for Italy. He's King Victor Emmanuel sought to unite Italy under his authority. In 1859, Sardinia had defeated Austria and seized most of northern Italy, so it's still a divided country, or it belongs to different people. He then allied himself with Giuseppe Garibaldi, a rebel leader in southern Italy, who quickly conquered the entire southern half of the peninsula. So the northern and southern areas of Italy are divided, are basically ruled by different people. So in 1868, Victor Emmanuel was named King of Italy, although some regions will remain independent until 1870. This side talks about the Red Cross. You can read over it. You really don't need to memorize anything. It's just information. So what was Italy's challenges? Italy had been divided for so long that most people maintain regional loyalties over any national loyalty. Instead of becoming one, they had loyalty to their region. Like North Carolinians had loyalty to North Carolina, and Virginians had loyalty to Virginia versus to the United States of America. Northern Italy was wealthy, more urban, and remember we said urban means city. Southern Italy was poor and rural, so kind of like the North and South in the United States, except the South was not poor, but it was rural. The Pope wasn't happy that he no longer directly controlled much of Italy and urged Catholics not to cooperate with the new government. Political unrest due to socialist and artist groups is going to cause all the challenges to Italy. So, going forward, we're going to continue to talk about these different countries and imperialism, and all of it's going to eventually lead up into World War I.